So, welcome to Woman at the Wheel, my YouTube channel. I'm Sue. Thought I'd tell you a little bit about what I'm doing right now. I'm crossing Ohio, pulling this stack of trailers, and I'm going along and I'm realizing I'm running low on fuel, so I stopped back here to get fuel. And had a hell of a time getting into this gas station, not because it wasn't suited to the trailer being in there, because I couldn't get people out of my way. Everybody's coming out of a drive-up deal, and then they would freak out when they saw me and just sit there like, you know, deer in the headlights look, not knowing which way to go. So it took me a while just to get in there and get around to the side of the pumps I needed to get to. And so I get in there, and it's a BP station somewhere in Ohio, out east of Columbus is where I was. So I finally get around, get lined up with the pump and everything, and I get out and look, and where I'm from, diesel pump handles are green, and most places diesel pump handles are green. Well, not in Ohio, not at that station anyway. All the regular pump handles were green for unleaded and, you know, gasoline, and then the diesel pump handles were black. Good thing I can read. That's all I can say, or I would have screwed that one up. Anyway, I realized what was going on with that, so I started getting my fuel. I ran the thing one time, it had a $125 limit, so it quit. So I started it up again to top it off, because I don't want to stop every 2 hours to fill up. I'm going to stop every 4 hours to fill up at the rate I'm going. So I finished filling up, and just when I hear the handle click off, you know, like it's full, I hear this other weird sound. So I get out and I look, and the hose where it connects up above the pump, that fitting came loose and the hose fell to the ground. Well, it must be some kind of a compression fitting or something, but it came loose. It wasn't leaking. It had a valve on it, evidently, so it wouldn't leak. I'm looking, and the handle of the pump is, you know, the spout part is sticking out of my diesel tank, and the other part's laying on the ground. I'm like, never seen this happen before. And so I went ahead and picked it up, moved it over to the way and laid it down, moved it out of the way and laid it down beside the pump. And then I got to thinking, I have to hang the pump part back, or the nozzle part back up, to turn it off so I can get my receipt. So I did that, hang it back up, and the other end's laying on the ground. So I got my receipt, and I said, okay, I'm going to go in and have my pit stop and all that. So I go in and I tell the guy at the counter, I'm like, you might want to look at diesel pump 8, because the hose just fell off. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, you might want to look at it. He goes, well, I don't know how to fix that. And I'm like, I don't either, but just letting you know, just in case you might want to know. He's looking all puzzled. He goes, well, I'm going to go out and look at that. I'm like, oh yeah, probably a good idea. I've never seen him do that. So he goes out and he looks, and I go do my stuff and get a cup of coffee and come back over to pay for it. He goes, yeah, he says it fell off. I'm like, I know it fell off. It sure enough did. He goes, I still don't know how to fix it. I'm like, me either. So we're just kind of, what do you do? I'm sure somebody would know how to do it. And if it's a compression fitting, it's probably just as simple as sliding the deal down and plugging it in and letting it go back up and latch over it. I don't know, though. I don't know for sure. And I wasn't going to mess around with it. Not in my pay grade to go around fixing diesel pumps, I don't think. Probably. So I thought that was just kind of a funny thing. Funny shit happens sometimes, and, you know, I have no idea why. There was no reason for it unless it was just loose. Just loose, and it held on, though, till I was full. I'm completely full of fuel here, so that's good. I don't know. This slays me. So I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to stitch this together so it'll be hopefully a continuous thing once I get done. So I'm going to flip it around and quit looking at me. Okay, there we go. Now I just got done telling my silly story. And this is where it ought to stitch back together. So you haven't missed anything except for me fumbling with the camera trying to get it to turn around and restart. So I wish I had a button on here that I could just push to go from one lens to the other, from one view to the other, but no such luck. Okay, this is wanting to route me, looks like on a bypass. I'm not sure what the point of that is. Some of these bypasses I kind of get. I guess we'll take it though. I don't know if I should trust it or not trust it. South of Cincinnati, 71. Well, if I end up going through Tennessee, this is probably the way to go. If I go this way, I may end up going through Tennessee. Or it may just be a bypass. I think it's a bypass, actually. Can't swear by it. Oh my gosh, this road is rough. Rough. Ramp narrows. Oh goody. It's just what we want to have is a narrowing ramp. I always slow way the hell down doing stuff like this, especially when I got something that's kind of tall. Because the last thing I want to do is flip a load over. Okay, it looks like better road anyway once you get out of that. That was some bad damn road. At least it wasn't 100 miles of bad road. It could have been. I don't know if you can see these cloud formations. There's some thunderstorms building, I think. That looks like young thunderheads being born. So I finally got on the back side of that damn low pressure front that was giving me the headaches. Right around the time I stopped in Pennsylvania for breakfast, so no more headache, which is nice. Try this coffee. I may get either a pleasant surprise or a big letdown. Probably a big letdown is going to be my guess. It had the same picture on the cappuccino machine as the fluffy coffee I get at home, but I don't think it's the same brand. Doesn't smell like it. Nope. Okay, it's not terrible though. It's better than most of this stuff. At least I don't have to dump this one out. A lot of times I'll get it and it's just so disgustingly sweet. I mean, I like sweet stuff, don't get me wrong. It's part of my fat problem. But some of them are so disgustingly sweet that you can't even drink them. This one's not too bad. It's too sweet, but it's not, you know, like make you gag sweet. So according to my GPS, I've got a hotel picked out somewhere down here in Tennessee near a little town called Dixon. And it's not D-I-X, it's D-I-C-K-S-O-N. and it's 413 miles from where I'm at now. I've got almost 6 hours of drive time left. Don't know if I'll make it that far. We will see. But I'm getting 10 miles to the gallon now, so definitely it was that fuel that I bought in Pennsylvania that was giving me the shitty mileage. I don't know exactly how that all works, but I know if you get shitty fuel, you get shitty mileage, and my mileage has gone up 2 miles to the gallon just since I filled up. And I was down to probably, I don't know, 12 gallons was all I had left in the tank. So when I put that new diesel in it, I'm sure it swished around in there and I'm getting a better diesel mix or something. But I'll take it, anything helps. So I really thought I'd get 10 or 12 miles to the gallon with this load. It's probably a little overly optimistic. Because even though it is a light load, it's still a big load. On the other hand, I've gotten about the same mileage pulling a little 2-horse bumper pull trailer because of the drag, the air drag between the back of my cab and the front of the horse trailer. So, I mean, this isn't, it could be a lot worse, a whole lot worse. That little horse trailer was probably, I don't know, 2,500 pound horse trailer. And I dragged that almost as far for half the money, so I cannot complain now, even though that doesn't always keep me from it. I shouldn't be complaining at all. I'm not really. I'm just keeping an eye on things. Now, I'm really amazed that since my husband pointed out to me how to make these straps stop loosening up, I haven't had that loose strap problem at all. I set them, cinched them down, set them, and they are staying put. And that's what you like to see. I was traveling this similar route where I'm going to turn down into Kentucky on my way down to Tennessee. And I was running this route, 10 or 12 years ago. I had a 40-foot trailer and I had a load of load of truck beds on it, flatbeds for pickup trucks. And they were in stacks. I had like 4 stacks of truck beds, and I had them all strapped on. And I went down into Lexington, Kentucky. I had to make a stop in Cincinnati and drop off a few of the truck beds, and then, or I think it might have been one thing I dropped off. Well, then I went on down, and I was going down towards Lexington, or not Lexington, Louisville, down to Louisville, Kentucky, and I had a strap break on the load, and it was kind of mountainous and curvy, and it was in a construction zone. So I was like, well, crap. There was really no place to pull over, so I had to finish out the construction zone, and right at the end of it, there was just enough room on the shoulder to get over and change out that strap. But so I've had contentious issues with straps before. I've had several of them break while I was using them. That's one of the reasons I strap things like I have this strapped. If you saw the earlier video where I showed you how it's hooked with just the hook, the metal hook going in the stake pocket on the top trailer, and then the ratchet part wrapped around the stake pocket at the bottom that provides less wear points on the actual strap. So the straps last a lot longer this way too, which is a good thing. So I'm talking about straps, and I'm seeing a funny vibration in the front strap on the passenger side. Not sure what it's doing. Might just be wind. but it's wiggling around funny. It's not like wiggling like it's loose. So I just keep going and I'll keep my eye on it. Once you've done this a while, you can tell when they're loose. I mean, it's very apparent. They'll start rocking side to side, kind of twisting and bouncing around. I kind of think I'm glad I'm going through here on a Saturday. As much traffic as there is right now, I think on a work day it would really suck. So I think I should be thankful for this timing. Try and get over here because I'm going to lose that far left lane. I don't want to be stuck in the fast lane. I'm not trying to run in any kind of a fast lane. I'm trying to get over out of people's way and hope they'll stay away from me. What the hell does that even mean? Variable speed limit ahead? Really? And how would I even know if it's variable? I mean, it is what it is when you go through it, I guess, right? So whatever it is, I'm slowing down considerably because this looks rough and all farked up. Okay, so evidently today the variable speed limit is 60. 60. Good to know. So I found this video editor that I can easily stick two clips together, two video clips together, which is why I went in and did the beginning part of this with the camera turned this way and then turn it around because now I know how to hook those together and not have to really struggle or think too hard to get it done. I've got a video editor at home on my other computer, but it's a pain in my ass. It's real hard to use. And it instead of giving you the whole video, it wants to put the video like in a strip with two strips on the side of it that aren't video. It doesn't want to just give me the video. It wants to reduce it down and then do this business on the sides. Kind of annoys me because I paid like $60 for it. And I'm sure there's got to be some way to make it not do that. I just haven't figured out yet what it is. So while I was at the hotel last night, I thought, I'll see if I can get somewhere and stick these together because I had a couple of the doubles clips. I wanted to just stick them together because, you know, the stuff that was in between them wasn't so hot, but I wanted to try it and see, and since there were two that actually went together. And it was actually really super easy. It's just a free program. I don't even remember what it's called. They're trying to upsell you, you know, so it only has certain features. But it has a feature that I like, so, and that's the feature that I used on it. And I don't have to pay extra, you know, pay for that. It's a freebie. Which is good for me because obviously I'm no cinematographer. I don't know what I'm doing as far as the technical business of the videos, which I think is the whole point of YouTube, right? It's just for everyday people to be able to put their stuff up online, and then anybody who thinks they're relatively interesting can take a look at it. I was looking at my videos last night. I got tickled. The video with the most views was when I had to save my cat from a chicken attack. Well, she wasn't really getting attacked. You'll have to watch the video, but I had to go rescue her. So it's the chickens on the porch and the cat rescue. In my sphere, it was almost viral because it had like 27 hits. It's like, holy cow. I'm excited because I've only been doing this for a little while, and most of my videos have either none, 1, 2, 4, maybe 6 or 8 views, you know, not a bunch. I don't have a whole lot going on yet. I think I've got 1 whole subscriber right now, and I'm thankful for that one. Thank you, whoever you are. But I expect, you know, over time it'll probably grow some. So what got me into this, it's one of those long roundabout story things it always is with me. If you haven't figured out that yet, you will before this is over with. There's always a roundabout story to stuff with me. So my brother does videos on YouTube, and he's actually pretty interesting if you're kind of like a technical person, because he does some technical stuff on there, and he does cool stuff like building guitars, and then he makes stuff out of molten aluminum. He does all kinds of cool stuff like that. Well, Old Town is his his YouTube channel. So if you're interested in any of that, go look him up, Old Town. And if I think of it, if I can remember to do it, I'll put a link under here to his video too. And then another person I know and am close to, who shall remain unnamed, except for, well, no, she won't. Anyway, this person does tarot readings under the name of Kat Scott. So if you want a tarot reading, you can go to Kat Scott and watch her readings. I like the way she does them. She's very artistic, put it that way. And her layout and everything is kind of pretty, and she's got a soothing voice. So that's just my sister, so I'm really talking her up. It's my older sister. So they're both on YouTube, and I thought, well, you know, I could probably put my stuff on YouTube too, because I drive around and see stuff all over the place. Well, I thought about this when I went back to work last year. And so I got one of those little, it was a GoPro knockoff, just a pretty cheap little camera. So I tried it out, and I think I tried to make one video with it, and it was in so many little segments, it was like, I'm not even going to be able to deal with this. I don't like the format, and I couldn't like plug it in and charge it while it was in the car. You have to take the batteries off of it and plug the batteries into the charger. So I thought, this is not going to work for me. So I've been kind of looking all this time for an option, something that I could use. You know, there's a barn, red barn. So I've been looking for something I could use, you know, to actually shoot the videos. And it occurred to me one day, I had just recently replaced my cell phone. And I got to thinking, I know my old cell phone takes good videos, so why don't I try using that? And I knew I could plug in a microphone to it, so I could, you know, wear a mic so the truck noise wouldn't overwhelm my voice. So I thought, okay, maybe that'll work. So that's what I'm doing. And I've only been shooting these videos for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks maybe. And I've got quite a few of them up already. And I know this isn't like earth-shaking, exciting stuff, but if you like riding around and looking at the scenery and looking at stuff, and you don't want to go by yourself, and you want to take a virtual ride with somebody who will talk enough to where you don't have to talk or whatever, then, you know, you found your girl right here. So I thought, well, that's going to be my deal. I'm going to just take people on virtual rides in my truck, because I've had people say, oh, I wish I could go ride with you when you're working. You know, people are always telling me that, because I tell them the crazy stuff I see on the road, and they're like, oh, that sounds so fun. So anyway, that's how the idea was born. And I thought, well, you know, I've got 2 siblings on YouTube. I might as well get on there too and see how it goes. So that's what I've done. So I'm not surprised that I have 1 subscriber, because I haven't been on here very long, and I don't have a whole lot of content yet, but that's changing. I'm building that up all the time, because every time I go out now I'm shooting video, and then at night when I stop, if I've got a decent Wi-Fi connection, I can upload the videos to YouTube. So it's kind of a process. What I have to do is I have to take the videos from my cell phone, transfer them to my tablet, and then send them from my tablet to YouTube. And I'm not sure exactly why I have to do that, but because I have to try and edit them. If I have any editing to do, I have to do it on my tablet. So my cell phone, I'm not very good at working with complicated shit on a little bitty cell phone touchpad or whatever. Like little, typing stuff in. It's a little easier on my tablet, so that's what I've been doing. And it's working. I'm pretty happy with it. But I didn't want to do the same kind of driving videos that almost everybody else is doing that does driving videos, where they just show kind of exciting, fast-paced driving down the road to cool music. Those are great. I like watching them, but it's just not my style. I needed something that I could do without distracting myself, taking my attention off my actual job, which is working, driving, and paying attention to the load I'm hauling, and not distracting myself from that. Something I could do and kind of keep myself entertained too. Because I'll tell you, when what all you do is drive around all the time, and you're driving, sometimes going back and forth over the same ground a few times gets to be a little monotonous. So it's good to have something to think about, so that you don't get like just white line fever or something. It's amazing to me how much farmland there is in this country. I mean, there's a lot. I guess farmers are having a hell of a time right now. With the diesel prices the way they are, I feel that pain. But now they got extra problems. They got fertilizer shortages, which is going to translate into higher food costs, folks, by the way. And it's not going into the farmers' pockets, it's going to pay for the fertilizer and the diesel that they have to burn to produce food. Mountain Sterling, I wonder if that's Mountain Sterling, Kentucky. That's the only Mountain Sterling I know of is in Kentucky. We're still on the Ohio side of the border. That may very well be a route down into there. So I'm kind of getting into the almost Cincinnati area. Got a ways to go yet. But this, every time I come through, I can't help but think of the Dwight Yoakam song, South of Cincinnati. Talk about a sad story, huh? If you're familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, go hunt it up on YouTube and listen to it. So this is not too far from where my dad's family was settled. They were settled in eastern Kentucky, which is probably just down south where we're at by maybe 80 or 90 miles, I think. Not sure exactly where I'm at east to west compared to that, but they were in Fleming County, Kentucky. And then my husband's family had people on this side of the river about the same time. But at that time, this was kind of the frontier. They considered this the frontier. All from here down through Kentucky. So it's been a while. It's been so early 1800s was when all that was going on in both of our families. There must be a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Look at all these clouds. Lots and lots of clouds. There's a nice aluminum stock trailer. Kind of funny that I would end up hauling horse trailers because I don't have horses. I gave up on being a horse person after I got bucked off a few times. I was like horse crazy when I was a little kid. And then I would ride any horse I could get around then. But once I grew, I grew really fast, so I got really klutzy. I got to where I couldn't stay on a horse, so I got over being a horse person, put it that way. It doesn't do you any good to be a horse person if you can't stay on them when they turn a corner. You just slide off the other side. And it hurts when you land, so I kind of gave that up. If I was going to have a horse, they'd just be a pet anyway. I wouldn't be riding them. Probably just go out and talk to them, feed them sugar cookies or some damn thing. We had wild donkeys out at our lake before they hauled them off. I think I've told that story, but I started getting them used to people by feeding them the oatmeal cookies from the grocery store, the cheap ones that had the little bit of icing on them. Those donkeys loved those cookies. They got over being wild and afraid to come up and eat those cookies out of my hand. Didn't take them very long. So if I was actually going to have any kind of a critter that big, I'd probably have a donkey. Nobody expects you to ride a donkey. You can have a donkey for a pet. Nobody thinks you're all that weird. Somebody might think you're weird if you had a horse for a pet. I think horses are a little more expensive too than donkeys. They eat a little more and maybe a little more expensive to take care of. But I still like looking at horses. Oh, that's nice. Did you see that? The guy washed his windshield going around me. Splattered me up with his windshield washer fluid. wasn't quite enough to get a free wash out of the deal. I can see, though, I'm back in bug territory. I'm going to have to scrub this windshield before we start out in the morning, so you don't have to look at bugs tomorrow. Look at this farmland. It's nice and flat out here. Old farmhouse there. That's a pretty old one. Wasn't really planning to do that. I just pushed the button to reconnect the radio. I thought I had it turned down. I know I'm not supposed to play the radio on YouTube videos, so I usually have it turned down to where you can't hear it. But I listen to XM radio, SXM now, Sirius XM. And I've got a very limited channel lineup that I actually like to listen to. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 channels that I listen to 90% of the time. One of those is fixing to get sent back to the back of the bus too. I don't use it so much. I got more back there I can bring forward. There's like 300 and something channels now. I might replace I was listening a lot to Road Dog, which is a trucker's channel, and I listen to that a lot in the winter because they do weather twice an hour, specific to trucking, you know, road conditions. But the reason I liked that channel to begin with is because I could listen to it at night when I was running late at night and listen to Coast to Coast AM, which comes on at midnight. Well, I don't run at night anymore for the most part. I did a lot when I was doing hotshot work, because I might get a load that was ready to go at 10 or 11 at night, and then I'd run all night getting it where it needed to go. This is a different deal. I don't have to run all night like that anymore. So I may switch that channel out for like some kind of 70s or something. I don't know, 60s or who knows. I'll figure out something. But the channels I actually listen to the most are Dwight Yoakam's Bakersfield Beat. And I like that because he plays a lot of the stuff, a lot of the country music that was playing on AM radio when I was a kid. A lot of stuff by Glenn Campbell and Linda Ronstadt, some of the Eagles, Wynn Stewart. There's just a lot of people he played that were on the radio. And when I was a kid, and I know some of you probably aren't old enough to remember this, and a lot of you may be, we had AM radio stations in most of our towns, and they didn't just play one kind of music. They played everything. So they played a mix of rock and roll, country and rhythm and blues, and whatever they had, whatever they could get to play. Now it's all segregated into genre, even on Sirius XM. But that's one of the things I like about Dwight Yoakam's channel, because he remembers that, and he does the same thing. He doesn't play all one genre. He'll play something that's, I mean, it's all basically slanted toward more country, but he also plays stuff that's not country. Country rock more than country. He plays everything from Ricky Nelson to the Byrds to the Monkees, and then all the other country stuff too, and Buck Owens and a lot of his own music. So it's kind of an interesting channel for me, because I remember a lot of the songs that he's playing that were top 40 back on AM radio in the 60s and 70s. So I like that a lot. I listen to that one a lot. I also listen to Channel 58 on Sirius. It's the Prime Country. So it's the country stuff from the 80s and 90s, basically. And then Channel 111 is a talk channel, and it has some stuff on it I like. It's got Megyn Kelly on it, and she's got a talk show. She's actually, there for a while I was kind of aggravated at her. So it seemed like she was doing some weird stuff, but she got over it. So she's gone back to kind of her roots, but she's not doing news now. She's doing really interesting talk with a variety of people on a variety of topics. So she's really interesting to listen to. See, Glenn Beck is on that channel too. I don't listen to him so much because he's so borderline frenetic that he gets me wound up. I don't like getting wound up and whipped up, and I can listening to him. He's really smart, and he knows more about what's going on, and he sees the realities of what's going on, but he comes across like he's a little bit goofy. I don't think he is. I don't think he's goofy at all. I think he knows his shit, but his delivery gets me wound up. So I might listen to a little bit of his stuff, but then I'll turn it off after I start feeling antsy, get all aggravated. Then in the afternoon, it's Dr. Laura, and I listened to her for years and years. I started listening to her on AM in Denver when I was out doing land surveying all day, because her program ran in the afternoon. I don't know if you've ever listened to her program, but she's funny as hell. She gives advice to people. She's a psychologist, psychiatrist, something like that. She's a therapist anyway. She's a doctor, but she just lets people have it. When they're doing stupid things, she'll say that is the dumbest thing ever. She's real plain spoken. She's funny to listen to. So I listen to her. And then the other channels I listen to, I got two more I actually listen to sometimes. One is the news. I'll switch over to Fox and listen to news a little bit. Can't take too much of that either. Then Channel 117 is actually the headline news channel off the cable TV, which isn't really news in the afternoons. In the evenings, they play like old episodes of the Forensic Files and stuff. And oddly enough, that translates really well to radio. So you don't have to see all the gory pictures to understand what they're talking about, or to make it interesting. So if I get in the mood for something that, a little more like that, I'll go over and listen to that. But I can only take so much of that too, because then, it's usually talking about people being murdered and stuff, and that's not great. It's bad business. So anyway, that's pretty much how I keep myself occupied while I'm not doing this. While I'm not videoing. I can't stand a steady diet of any of it. I like having, switching it up a little bit. like they got pretty decent rest areas here. I don't stop at a lot of rest areas, if you've noticed. Once in a while I will. And if in a pinch, I will actually stop and stay at them if I'm hauling something I can sleep in. And I need to if I'm running out of hours, and that's the only place I can find. A lot of them now are actually attended. They have people there. Right now I'm just trying to stay on schedule as much as possible because I need to be far enough today to where tomorrow I can get within 3 or 4 hours of Seguin, Texas. I'm not going to make it all the way, it's just too far. And then Monday morning I'll finish up the last 4 hours because I'll drive all day tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then Monday I'll drive 3 or 4 hours, whatever it is, however close I get. But I need to reserve 6 hours minimum to get home, and probably I'd rather have 7 or 8 hours to make sure that I can get all the way home and not have to stop someplace. So when I get back, I'm going to do my reset. I'm going to be out of hours. I'm not going to be able to take another job for a couple days. One of the things about our hours of service is at the beginning of our work week, the way it's set up, they give us 70 hours. And that's not 70 hours of just driving, that's 70 hours altogether with your pumping fuel and doing your pre-trips. Everything you do that's not driving also. So I try and keep my time for my non-driving activities to a minimum because that does eat into your weekly total of your drive time, in a way. So if I'm looking at what I'm doing over the next week and I'm trying to calculate the hours I need to do it, and I look at my weekly hours, how many I've got, like I've got 30 left right now. Well, I know right now I'm within 24 hours easily of Seguin, Texas, and then another 6 hours home. Well, that's, I know I'm going to have some left over. I'm actually way within 24 hours. I'm more like 18 hours, I think, from Seguin, Texas now, or 16. So, but I have to also, in that total, I have to count in my non-driving work time. So I want to leave a buffer there so that I don't run out. It's just kind of a weird thing because the way our hours are counted. So it's like, my broker will ask me, well, how many hours do you have left on the week? And I'll tell him, and he'll be like, oh, you can do this load. Well, that might be true if I didn't have to do anything but drive. So then I pointed out to him a couple weeks ago that also includes our non-driving work time, like fueling and all this other stuff. So we need to add that in when we figure, can I take this load or not, and have time to get back. So that's all part of it. And he's like, yeah, oh yeah. I think he knew it, he just wasn't thinking of it at that moment. So pretty much, when you drive like this, you live by the clock, basically. And you're always watching your hours. The good and bad about the electronic logging devices, the bad is it's like having a little tattletale in the truck with you all the time. But, it's required. You can't get rid of it. You can't boot it out and leave it when it annoys you. You have to keep it in the truck. But the good thing about it is it keeps track of all this stuff so you don't get into trouble going over on your hours. Because they've got it so convoluted and complicated now that it's really hard to keep track. I mean, we used to keep track on our paper logbooks. Yeah, there was a way to write this all down so you could kind of keep track of it on a day-to-day basis. But they've changed the rules off and on since then, since I was running a paper log. So, you know, I've come to actually appreciate that I'm probably okay as long as my electronic logging device says I'm okay, because it's got all the laws really just built into it. So in that sense, it's kind of a good thing to have. At least I'm not fighting it anymore, put it that way. I did it first and I had a hell of a time with it. Once I quit fighting it and started actually using it as a tool it was designed to be, it's gone a lot smoother. I can be so stubborn sometimes. But I was just bound and determined to hate it. And so I did for a long time. But it does that. It provides me a sense that what I'm doing is actually on the clock legal. And the other thing it does for me, actually, which is kind of a good thing, it gives me a reason to tell people, no, I can't do that load, or no, don't have the time, or whatever, because it's black and white. I don't have to guess at it. So, and it has cut down on people asking you to take a load that they know is shady or is just not, you know, like when you can't legally take a load. Used to be people would do that a lot. Well, I know you're out of hours, but could you slip this load in, or could you take this one and just run with it, and they would know that you hadn't had your reset or whatever. So it kind of put an end to that business, which that part of it's good. I do appreciate that. I know I had butted heads with a few people who wanted me to do illegal shit back then I wouldn't do. So a lot of the attitude in the business has changed since then because of these things. So that's been a real improvement. Okay, well, I'm about talked out. I think I'm going to switch over and listen to some radio for a while. Hope you enjoyed riding along, and I will catch you on the next trip. See you later.